Okay, but now I guess we'll take another point to pause, because I know we're doing it a lot, maybe it gets repetitive, but this is how it should be in your minds whenever you're playing. We need to look at the state of the game. You don't know the exact goal whenever you're playing, but you can sort of get a feel for it. Most people can look at the scoreboard and get somewhat of an idea. Like, you're relatively even to these people, right? They have one more kill, you have one more tower, you're up farm on your AD carry, you're pretty down on the mid laner. Like, overall, the game isn't in the worst spot. It's not completely unwinnable, but we need to talk about what we need to do in team fights. Something that takes... It's not like it's a hard concept to learn, but it takes like a certain amount of discipline is sort of knowing your role in a fight. And what I mean by that is like not just what your job as a champion is, but what your champion can do. Not just like what you're best at. Sometimes it's like what you might have to do something you're not as good at. Like let's take for example random champion examples again. Say you're playing Kha'Zix and your AD carry is Jinx, and the enemy has an Olaf. Olaf is relatively fed. And Olaf is running at your Jinx. As Kha'Zix, you probably want to jump into the backline and assassinate a carry or a support or whatever you can do. But in this one specific example, you have a champion that cannot be peeled, right? Olaf is going to run at Jinx. You could leave Jinx on her own and just hope that she kills the Olaf, whatever. Or you could help her kill the Jinx, right? And that's what you probably should do. I'm sorry, help her kill the Olaf, and that's what you should do in this case, right? Like, even though Kha'Zix is not meant to kill bruisers, even though he is not great at dealing with the armor Olaf has, that's sort of like what you do in this one fight, right? Maybe you're playing Malzahar, and they have, I don't know, another diver, Camille, Jarvan, whatever. Most people want to lock down a high priority target. Most people don't want to ulti a tank or a frontliner or whatever. I guess Camille is high priority, so we'll use something else there. We could say Ornn, we could say Skarner, we could say whatever, right? You just ulti somebody to stop them from getting to your carry. Because while it's not maybe the most optimal target for you to ulti, it's the most optimal thing for you to do for your team. And so, I know this is like a lot of kind of rambly shit, and I talk kind of fast whenever I start rambling, but my point with it all is just learn what your role is in a team fight based on both comps. You probably don't need to assassinate a backline carry if your team wins the front to back team fight, right? At the same time, the coin might be completely flipped. Maybe your team has a way weaker front to back team fight. Maybe they have Kai'Sa or they have Kog'Maw, and you're stuck with Ezreal or Jhin. In those cases, you probably have to dive the backline and completely ignore the front line and leave